What's up, gamers? In today's video, I'm going to show you how to farm the 12 most important mega building materials that you're going to need in Grounded for mega builds. Make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe and turn them notification bells on for daily Grounded content. Let's get into it. All right, so I've compiled a list of all the building materials that I normally use for all these mega builds, and I'm going to break them each down for you, show you the most efficient ways that I've found to farm each individual one and how to get an absolute ton of each one. So here we go, guys. I'm actually going to put timestamps down in the description to help you guys navigate if you want to go to a particular one, but we're going to start with grass. Then I'm going to show you guys stems, ant eggs, clovers, plant fibers, sap, crude rope, mushrooms, acorns, food, and pebbles and clay. Let's get into it. All right, so number one is going to be grass. Now, obviously, everybody knows how to chop grass, and you can chop it forever, but what is the most efficient way to chop grass? Preferably don't bring a almost broken axe to the fight here. But here you're going to want a red ant arm guards with the sleek effect for chopping harvest speed. You're also going to want to have your grass master status effect on, and this is going to allow you, and I'm not sure if the level actually counts, but I have a mantis scythe, which is going to allow me to one-hit grass, and that's going to allow you to literally smack, 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 and you can hit one, hit one, hit one, right? And if you time it just right, or if you get close enough, you get bundles kind of like this. You can get them both with one whack sometimes. But yeah, this is definitely the fastest way to possibly farm grass. Or if you're like me and you're wanting to clear out an entire area, then that's also an option as well. So yeah, this is how you farm a ton of grass blades. All right, now we're on to number two, which is going to be stems. So the best place in the yard for stems is going to be right here on the map between the picnic table and the sandbox. That is why I built this massive structure here, because this is my stick shipping crane. So more or less, same thing goes with this, as goes with grass. But oddly enough, your first two attacks, let's just say they do half damage, and your third attack does full damage. So you can 1, 2, and then 3 to chop that last third guy. So I typically go through and I chop every single one of them, and then I go back and pick them all up. Now, I just recently came up with a little hack to deposit things onto a pallet faster. Also, a lot of people are curious, how do I carry so much stuff here? We've got the fluffy Poopa hat, and then we've got the one-piece red ant armor, and then I've got aphid slippers for speed, which takes away, if you don't have the red ant slippers on, if you put the red ant boots on, you get one more additional carry weight, so you can carry 22. But typically, since I've been farming sticks, you can only carry 21, and you can only put 21 on a pallet of sticks. So this is definitely the more efficient way to do it. But fluffy Poopa hat, red ant armor guards, aphid slippers, and then you get the intern badge as well. I'm going to be remaking a video specifically for carry weight here pretty soon. I have an old one up. I'll put the link for it in the description as well. But what I've actually done is, for you PC people, I went to my key bindings here and depositing onto unloading right here. I switched it to my left and right on my keyboard. So now I can literally deposit like almost instantly by sitting there smashing my left and right on my keyboard. So ultimately what you're going to want to do with this 21 carry weight is you're going to want to pick up 21 sticks and grab this pallet, and then take it wherever you need to. In my instance here, this is going to go inside of my stick storage warehouse here, which is more or less where I'm going to. I'm working on completing this build. If you've been following my mega build series, you would know that for sure. But more or less, boom, bang, boom, right there. So that's the most efficient way, in my opinion, to farm sticks. So let's go on to the next one. All right, so the next thing on my list is actually ant eggs, which technically are not a building material, but you can utilize them to collect building materials. You can use them to blow up dry grass. You can use them to blow up grass blades. You can use them to collect clovers, which is going to be the thing I show you after this, is how I collect
over here.
how I collect clovers, apologies, with ant eggs. So let's go ahead and head into the ant hill. The ant hill is actually located, for those of you that do not know, right here on the map. I'm going to get attacked here a little bit, but this is going to be our ant hill location. So we're going to go down here, and more or less the way that you get more ant eggs to spawn is you're going to want to come down here and you're going to want to kill everybody. Luckily, sometimes you'll get lucky like I'm getting right now. We'll go ahead and get a bunch of eggs in here. They're going to get mad at me. But now we're going to want to go through this right side tunnel, and you're going to want to find 2 nests. There's actually 2 nests in here. This is where the eggs actually generate. This is where the ants actually come to create the eggs, and then they carry them up there. So there's going to be our first nest, and we're going to head straight this way, and we're going to look for the fungal growth on the inside of the cave here, which is right here. And on our immediate left there is another egg. So now we have 7 ant eggs that we can turn into Bratwurst and use to farm clovers, which is going to be our next thing that I show you, the best, fastest way to farm clovers. So let's get into that one, guys. Let's go. All right, so number 4 is going to be clovers. This is where I come to farm for clovers. There's quite a bit actually here. And if you're doing any sort of mega builds at all, you know that we are slightly limited on the amount of roofs that we can have. So if you're building something huge, you're probably going to end up using clover roofs, simply because crow feather roofs are going to take you ages to farm for. So we've got our 7 Bratwurst here. And more or less what you do is very simple. You take your Bratwurst, you come over here, and you right-click to drop it, and you let it do the job for you. So now we will have, out of these 7 Bratwurst, roughly about 600 or 700 clovers once we pick them all up. So, just like so, and then we'll do one right here in this little pond. Just like that. So now we have an absolute ton of clovers to pick up, which is absolutely awesome. So you just sit here and spam them. And all right, let's go on to the next one here. All right, so the next one I am going to show you is going to be sap. Now, you can pretty much place sap collectors just about on any log, stick, tree, or anything like that in the yard. So nothing too crazy here, just more sap collectors. Lots and lots of sap collectors. And then you're just going to go through here. Pretty much once a day is about how long it takes your sap collectors to refill. I am going to be working on here pretty soon a new mega build that's going to be a birdhouse. It's going to be over by the oak tree. It's going to pretty much be my main source of collecting sap. So I'm going to be moving from here to there because I'm not a huge fan of the mites on this log, but you can also put them all over the sticks up there to stay away from the mites if you want to. But yeah, this has got me by for now. It gives me roughly, let's see here, 121 or so, something like that. 124. Okay, so yeah, that gets me roughly 124 sap, which is enough to make all the things I need the sap for, like clover roofs and such. So yeah, on to the next one. Let's get it. All right, so the next one is going to be plant fibers. So just like we did in the very beginning of the video here, we came over here and chopped down all this grass. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get your spicy staff. If you don't know how to get the spicy staff, real quick, I'll just tell you that it is the Termite King Burgle Chip unlocks staffs in the game. So I will make more elaborate videos on that in the future, but for now, that's all I'm going to tell you. But more or less, you can either, one, if you don't have a staff, you can just chop these guys, and those are going to give you, like, 4 or 5 a piece. But the way to really be efficient is to use a spicy staff and just start blowing them all up. And as you can see, it gets a little crazy with the amount of plant fibers that start dropping here. And you could then use these plant fibers to turn into crude rope. And you can choose to take these. I guess that kind of leads us into our next little thing here, which is going to be crude rope. How to farm tons of crude rope. This kind of goes hand in hand here. So you can either come over to your grinders, if you happen to have grinders, or web spinners, sorry. I can't remember the exact name of what they're called here, but let me get this badge off. Run a little bit faster. But I've got my spinner shop over here. You can bring your plant fibers to the spinning shop, and you can spin them in the web, in the spinning wheel. You can get 1 for 1, so it only requires 1 plant fiber to make 1 crude rope. So we can spin those up like that, or you can craft them on your person here, which I've noticed personally, this is a more efficient way simply because I'm taking down a lot of grass and destroying a lot of grass stems with the spicy staff, picking up a ton, and I can literally just sit here and press W to craft 5 at a time. And now I have, now I've got 19 plant fire crude rope ready to go. So you don't have to sit here and be like, oh, tap, 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 and then do this one, tap, 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 this one, tap, 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 tap. You know what I'm saying? Back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. So that is my most efficient way for plant fibers and crude rope. On to mushrooms. All right, next is going to be mushrooms. If you want to farm a ton of mushrooms, I suggest either number one, scanning, go into a resource scanner here, and you can scan for your mushrooms. And we can just type in, hold on, that's not the resource scanner. That isn't either. What am I doing? Toadstool chunks right here. Boom. All right, so all these little red dots all over the map, that's going to show you all the ones that you can go find. If you want to go find them, there's also a ton up here in the upper yard, right here, and a ton over here, as well as up there. So if you want to do that, you can, but if you have the materials and the resources available to make garden patches, that's what we have here in the middle of town. We have all these garden patches here, and more or less I come through, I give them the 1, 2, 3, just like on the stems. We do 1, 2 chop, and then the third chop, just like that. And this is pretty much how I get all of my mushrooms for these gigantic walls. Now, luckily, out of all the building materials, mushrooms are, in my personal opinion, the best because you can carry like a ton. You can get a ton done, right? So with stems and pallets, you can only carry like 24 maximum. That's with workman's comp, smoothie, and everything. But with mushrooms, you can carry so much more. So then what you're going to do is you're just going to replant all these. And you just pretty much click on it, click on this, and then click Q to start it. Like that. And then the second portion of this one is going to be inside of my furnace room, where I have all of my grinders and all of my furnaces. So we're going to let those grow up. And we'll come over here. And this is where I'm going to have all of my furnaces and all of my grinders. So I've got a bunch of slurry here, a bunch of bricks saved up. And more or less what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to come up to your grinders and just smash all these chunks into the grinders that you've recently gotten. And that's going to create that slurry for you. And then you can come down to your furnaces and just cook up a ton of bricks. And as you can see, you're obviously going to want to use red bricks as much as you can, because you can see right here that mushroom chunks, the brown ones, hold on. So toadstool chunks, these are, I believe, the individual mushrooms. Oh no, these are the ones that we just used. Yeah, these are toadstool chunks. So those will give you 10 slurry. The brown mushrooms will give you 6, and then the baby mushrooms will only give you 1. So you definitely want to make sure you use the big red mushrooms, because it's almost pointless to use the other ones, honestly. But yeah, more or less, we're going to hot deposit all that into there by pressing in, and that's going to get all of our mushrooms put away, and that's pretty much how I farm and obtain a ton of mushrooms. So let's get on to the next one. All right, so this next part, we are going to be farming for acorns. I'm going to take you guys around the tree and show you, more or less, I don't have to show you, I guess, too much, but acorns are only obtainable from around the giant oak tree. And normally what I do here, I'm not sure exactly. I've got some people that tell me they can one-hit acorns. I still haven't figured out how to one-hit them yet. Hopefully I can figure it out soon. But I've got Rock Cracker 3 here. That's going to give us busting and harvest speed. I've also got Smasher on, just in case that helps at all. And then we're going to have our level 7 Black Ox Hammer, along with the Firefly Headlamp with the Sleek Effect. That's going to give us busting harvest speed as well. I'm not sure if the busting harvest speed even dials into getting acorns. It does work. This build works great for Pebbles, right? So, like, I'll show you guys that in a little bit here, but more or less, like, this pebble up here, we will one-hit this pebble with this little build. And that makes it super easy for farming pebbles, but I'll show you guys that here in just a second. But yeah, more or less, you're just going to run circles around the oak tree. You're going to get as many acorns as you can possibly get. I can, like I said, I can 2-hit them. But, I mean, I can, if I hold down my attack button, I can one-hit them. But if you didn't know that as well, you can charge attack and get them in one hit every time. So it might not hurt to maybe bring some Black Ox Sleek Effect armor with you, where you've got like a faster charge attack speed or less time to charge. But yeah, more or less this is how I get all my acorns for all my sap collectors and stuff. It's very unfortunate that the drop rate on the acorn tops is so low, and I also did confirm with Obsidian that it does not matter if you hit it on the top, hit it on the bottom, hit it on the side. There's a lot of myth going around that if you hit it on the top, it gives you more tops, or if you hit it on the belly of the acorn, it gives you more tops. It's all just RNG, guys. It doesn't matter where you hit it at, where you smack it, where you whack it. It's going to give you a random number of tops and a random number of shells every time. So there you go. On to the next one. All right, so the next one I have here is food. This is not exactly a important building resource, but if you're like me, I'm constantly hungry and thirsty in this game. Obviously, if you sleep in an acorn bed, if you did not know that, you can get a buff for the day that is going to reduce the amount of food and water that you consume throughout the day. So that's not a bad idea. If you're building, make sure you sleep in an acorn bed. But more or less, if you need a lot of food, come to Aphid Island. Aphid Island is this island here, kind of shaped like an aphid, and it's covered with aphids, weevils, and gnats. And you can kill them either with a salty weapon to get jerky, like this. So that will give you aphid jerky or weevil jerky or gnat jerky, whichever. Or you could, if you have your spicy staff or a spicy weapon, you can just shoot them with that, collect a lot of food, and that's going to give you pretty much a infinite amount of food. Like, they're everywhere, guys. They're absolutely everywhere all over this island. So yeah, there you go. Infinite food for days. All right, so the next two are going to be Pebbles and Clay. I actually already recently made a how to farm a ton of Pebbles video, so I will put that video in the description as well if you want to go check out a more in-depth, detailed version of that. But I showed you guys that, so we have our Smasher, our rock cracker here. We've got that equipped. We've got our level 2 shovel, which is the highest tier shovel that we can get, and our level 3 hammer for breaking rocks. But more or less, you're just going to put this equipment to good use here, and Aphid Island and this whole entire area is going to be one of the best spots to farm for clay. Now, I don't have an updated clay farming video just yet, but I will be doing that once again here. But you're going to just run around just regular Aphid Island here, and then you're going to go out to the outskirts, and more or less you want to just follow this entire line here, and that's going to give you absolutely tons of clay. You can come out with about 600 clay if you get all this, and you can also go underwater. Now this, once you're underwater, this build no longer one hits clay. It takes 2 hits for it to work. So I will find one underwater here and show you guys real quick. There is quite a bit underwater. All you just have to worry about the water fleas poking you in the butt, but they don't really do any damage, so you don't have to worry too much. But let's see here if I can find one. I know there's a bunch more over on this side. But if you need a lot of clay and pebbles, which you will need if you plan on building a ton of foundations, this is, you know, a good place to start. And then the next place, yep, here we go. See, it takes 2 hits to do this underground. Or underwater, I apologize. And a huge place for clay, if you want to go to the upper yard, if maybe you're building in the upper yard, go to the stump pond. All these ponds right here, right around the stump, are huge. They have tier 2 clay in them. And the tier 2 clay, rather than it gives you 5 pieces like the singular one does here, you will get 15 from each tier 2 clay. And they're all underwater up there. There's none like up above water like this. But if you need a ton of clay, I suggest going both places, and then you got to wait like a day. I'm pretty sure it's only like a day. I've never came back to my clay farming spots and not had more clay to farm like already, so I don't think it's a very long respawn timer on that. And then as far as rocks goes, we're going to want to... I usually visit the places where there's bombardier beetles, so there is a little bombardier spawn spot right over here. We'll go ahead and cut to that part, and I'll show you where it's at. Another good indicator of where good places are to farm rocks are these spades. There's like 3 or 4 of these spades around town, or around the backyard, as well as the shovel. over by the picnic table. So that's a pretty good indicator of a good place to farm rocks. So we're just going to literally run through here. I'm not even going to bother with this one-hit build that we have here. Bother with the bombardier beetles or the mites. I'm just going to run through, collect my resources, and run off. Just like this. Now, there's not a ton over here, but there is, you know, if you're looking for rocks, you're going to want every rock you can possibly get. But just keep moving so the bombardiers don't hit you. Pretty simple. Just like that. Yep. And there's some more down here, and then you just get out of dodge. Nom 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 nom. Yep. And there you go. That's clays and pebbles. And then I've got one more bonus idea that I did not get to talk to you guys about just quite yet. And that is web. So let's get into how to collect a ton of silk web. All right, so I'm at Rake Rock right now. This is where I come normally if I need a lot of web. This is where I will come to harvest it. I don't have a dandelion on me right now, so I'm going to take a little bit. Oh, Jesus. Take a little bit of damage. That scared the crap out of me. But this hole right here with the rock for the hamster on it, this is where I typically come to farm web. Could take out this wolf spider real quick with 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. Okay, if you suck at fighting wolf spiders, I apologize. I do have some old videos that I can link in the description that'll maybe help you learn to fight them a little bit better, especially if you're not using a spicy staff. But every one of these kills that we get right here of these little spiders, this is all web that we get right here. So there's tons of it in here, and they just keep coming, as well as the web sacks down here as well. And this headlamp's going to help us out with this part, but there's lots of web sacks that we can gather up down here. Oh, don't blow up on me, please. All right, so there we go for that, and more. Yeah, so this is a great little bonus additional thing, you know, if you're wanting to make a bunch of dew collectors and things of that nature, then you're going to need lots of web sacks here, and that is definitely the easiest. This is the easiest and fastest way to get a good amount of them if you need them. I also suggest my favorite living spot and my go-to place to build is on the 2x4. If you build on the 2x4, you'll never run out of web because you're constantly having to fight off spiders. So if you want to live life on the edge like me, you can do that. But if not, you can come farm for web over here. God Lord, there's a lot of webs. But make sure you guys hit the like button for me if you haven't yet. Hopefully you found this video helpful. Here's another video that's going to pop up on the screen that you might like and enjoy. And make sure you subscribe and turn the notification bell on. And we will see you guys on the next one, man. Thanks for hanging out with me. And we'll see you out there in the grounded world. Peace.